all of us that like our psychological thrillers free of pretension, Remedy's Alan Wake should satisfy. Events start out innocently enough. Alan Wake is a famous writer on vacation who arrives in scenic Bright Falls with his wife, Alice. It's a small town filled with what seems to be eccentric but friendly people.
Do me a favor, Sonny!
At least until Alice gets snatched by unknown forces, and Wake is plunged into a nightmare world of deadly shadows and paranoia. It's an intriguing setup, particularly for X-Files and Twin Peaks fans, and something that once you pick up, is difficult to put back down. While the plot is sometimes so absurd that it's difficult to stomach, the game's setting and characters are developed well enough to the point that you can forgive their stereotypical tendencies and enjoy what they contribute to the tale. A bigger problem is that the ending feels a little incomplete, likely to make room for future content. The graphics in Alan Wake play a big part in establishing the tone, reinforcing the notion that you're trapped in insane isolation. Mists surge with unsettling speed across forest floors, and all the locations in the game are packed with lots of small details. Your flashlight plays an important role in this. Not only are the lighting effects beautiful to look at, but light is a vital tool of combat. It's used to disintegrate enemies and also to help out with exploration and discovering hidden areas. Set against the inky blackness of the forests and haunted valleys around Bright Falls, it can be particularly effective at generating tension and evoking a sense of dread as you step into the light to escape the dangers beyond the shadows. You'll also see some flashy particle effects as lights blast away darkness with the burning ferocity of a circular saw on sheet metal. Sound design is also excellent. Sound effects squeal, strings surge, the winds hiss, and pianos patter into existence to underscore the mood of the visuals. Remedy made Max Payne and gave us bullet time, so there's no doubt the studio knows how to make a stellar action game. What we get in Alan Wake isn't as over-the-top, but it's still a tightly wound, responsive, and entertaining combat system. Your main enemy in the game is the darkness, and it'll force the world to assault you. Your light is the first line of defense, as casting flashlight beams and sparking flares serves two purposes. They stun and hold back your enemies, but also peck away at their shadowy armor. Once the darkness is broken, you can switch over to firearms and pulverize foes with standard weapons. You can also dodge, but enemies are fast and the timing must be precise. The only real downside of the combat is the camera. Sometimes you'll find the trees and other objects block your view, which can be especially deadly in some of the harder fights. Other sequences are mixed in to keep the gameplay varied. You'll explore sunny vistas and buildings, interact with NPCs, uncover loads of hidden items and collectibles, and take part in the occasional driving sequence and boss fight. I won't say too much for fear of spoiling some of the more impressive action set pieces, but I will say if you have the opportunity to talk to someone, to listen to a radio broadcast, or watch a television program, you should do it. All of them strengthen the personality of the game and make for a better overall experience.
Tonight's episode, a quantum suicide.
It isn't a particularly long game, and its episodic format leaves something to be desired at the alleged conclusion. But that's no reason to pass on Alan Wake. It's a moody run through the paranormal and paranoid, a video game that feels like a short story that's presented like a television show. It's frightening, funny, and entirely self-aware, and has a great foundation of gameplay to make the experience just as fun to play as it is to watch. For more on Alan Wake, head over to IGN.com.